Hi. 42 is your. Can you see? I don't know if there's any on there.
You owe 20 cents. Would you like to reload your card?
No, thank you. Oh, but can I have the card back though?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Hey, Deb.
Who is that?
Mary Beth.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Hi, Mary Beth. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, why are you out and about? What are you doing?
I know. I had to get stitches taken out of my mouth.
Oh, you and this dental.
I know. It's a just ongoing situation.
Well, go home.
Yep. On my way.
How's your husband feeling?
Good, good. How about yours?
Good. He just went out to go do a job. Very, very good. He's on a roof somewhere. Oh, thank God.
So is it just you and me?
No, Julie just popped on, and we have an amazing guest today.
Mary Beth, should I go live in our Facebook group with this, even though there's like 5 people in it, just as
Yeah, you should.
okay.
We got to start inviting more people. Once we have the content, people are going to come.
And we can ask everybody here to share it too.
Yeah.
Wait, how
I
do you
think
mean?
open it up.
Didn't they just log in from what you posted?
Yes, and then we also created a Leading Through Crisis Facebook group so that we could share files. And we kind of set it up, Deb, honestly, for the region at first, because we don't really have much coming to us as team leaders and support staff.
Right.
And now we just realized that, I mean, like all team leaders could really use this, and all support staff and OPs. And so now we're just kind of opening up this Facebook group to anybody who wants to join.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. So while we're waiting, though, for him to come on, how's your market been doing, Deb?
Well, I've been looking at like the stats of showings, and the showings are down like 60, 70%. Some people are still going out there showing though.
Yeah, not cool. I mean, there's certain things that certain situations they have to. I get it. My ALC, we just had a call this morning at 10 o'clock every Tuesday, and Sean Annan showed us a clip of what you're talking about is showing time. And on March 10th, the showings dropped to the bottom. The last 2 days, they've actually picked up a bit. And so we have an event that we're going to be doing on April 21st called What the Tech. And I said by then we'll have some market information as to like what really is happening. Because right now I feel like we're still just working on getting things closed that are already in contract. We're seeing some new contracts come, but I'd be interested to see what next week brings.
Yeah, next week will be interesting for sure. I mean, I know that, you know, we've had people that are, like you said, definitely still trying to get the contracts closed, what they had closed. And then also the, you know, the ones that they had just written, trying to get those inspections and things like that done.
Yeah. So go ahead, Julie, you want to open up? Patrick's on the phone.
I was just saying hi to some of the people that we have that are on our Facebook page, are joining us from Facebook. So
awesome.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello, hello.
How's
How
it
are
going?
you?
Patrick.
Anything new in your world? Just typical
Some
Tuesday.
guys on the roof.
Yeah, you know, just normal Tuesday.
Yeah, nothing crazy going on. So
Nothing crazy at all.
Yep.
Thank
Very
you
cool.
thanks for joining us. We've got one OP with us on Zoom. We've got a few people on our Facebook group, and we put it out to the region, so hopefully others will join us. And we also have been putting these recordings on YouTube as well and sharing them with people afterwards.
Awesome.
So we're trying to build our content library. So thank you.
Absolutely.
You,
Patrick, we're being visible
I love it.
and likable.
Making me so proud.
yeah. And you get
Patrick's Angels.
You're the first guest that we've had, and you are our first choice. And then, you know, we've got Mark King and Mo Anderson and Mike McAllowitz and just some, you know, some other people after you, but you're our number one.
I appreciate that. I'll set the bar so low that no matter what they say, it sounds amazing.
So
We actually just lined up Jean Rivers also.
yeah. Oh, and Holly Prescott, we have her too.
Oh, Holly, yeah.
Awesome. It's fascinating to watch all this where people, because you ask agents all the time, like, okay, before this, how many of you knew you had to do video content for your database and for your farm and Facebook and all that kind of stuff and never ever did it? And everybody's like, now how many of you feel comfortable doing it now because you were forced to hop on Zoom? So it's just, it's fascinating to watch how people are adapting. So
Mary Beth, quick question. Should I have this shared in our group. Should I share it in the region too? I don't know if I can do both, but I can at least tell the people on that Facebook group to join us here. That might be better for getting us more exposure to these events. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
All right, I'm gonna just.
All right. And you see, we just have Matt Billheimer joined us and Alicia Cardi. Alicia's out in our Montclair office. And Matt works alongside me in the Wayne location. And Deb Kerr is the OP of Middlesex, Metuchen.
okay, awesome.
Sorry, just give me a minute. I'm just joining us there or on Zoom.
So Patrick, while Julie's doing what she's doing, why don't you just, you know, kind of state who you are, what you do, and why you think we asked you to come here.
So I'm Patrick Woods. I was a team leader for about 10 years. So during the Great Recession, I shut a market center down. I turned one around, and then 2011 took Roseville to the #1 market center in all of Keller Williams 2 years in a row. So that's kind of my peaked in 2011, 2012 Patrick Woods story. Prior to that, I owned a .com and watched the .com bubble burst and the economy with that. So I've been around these things a few times. I'm also a MAPS coach. I'm an operating principal of a market center in the Sacramento, California area. And I run a real estate team out here as well. And then I travel and speak on career visioning, 30-60-90, success to others, and a few other courses. So, and I'm a husband and a dad and all that fun stuff too. Can't leave that out. So I really don't have a whole.
And you're my coach.
Mine too.
Yep. So yeah, that's my story. And this is all leadership, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is all leadership. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think the biggest thing, I mean, I would guess the reason why you had me on here is because I'm your coach. And here's what's been interesting is just having these conversations. So if we just back up a little bit, Elk Grove Unified School District, where my market center is, was the first school district, at least as far as I'm aware of, that closed down because of coronavirus. And that happened on March 7th. And the state and other people were saying, that's a way overreaction. That's crazy. And then literally that Wednesday, NBA shut down.
Right.
And so it's been interesting to coach people all around the country and watch them go from, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, to this is ridiculous. And slowly the people that thought the sky is falling are starting to get a little bit more real. And more importantly, the people that thought this is ridiculous, we're all kind of getting into the same boat together over the course of these weeks. And as a month has gone on, I saw something saying today was like the 87th day of March. Yeah. It felt like the longest month ever.
It feels like, yeah.
Totally.
So everybody's kind of in the same boat, and it's been super helpful for me to have these conversations with team leaders and OPs in Seattle and in New York and in Florida and in Oklahoma and in California, and kind of take the best practices and almost create this whole mastermind group with my coaching clients, and even for my market center, to be able to make decisions quickly. And if there's one takeaway I've gotten out of this whole event, is make decisions really stinking fast. Because the faster you can make a decision, the sooner you can get on to the next decision. And I saw this play out. So for those of you that are team leaders and OPs and whatnot of a market center, have you ever had a holiday that your market center did that another market center did not do? locally. Right?
Like
So
you mean
say like
somebody
Friday.
had like Black Friday off and
Yeah,
the
like you have
neighboring
Good
market
Friday
center
off, and that
didn't?
other market center doesn't. And then that other market
Yeah,
center
hi.
starts calling you going, well, why did you give your people that day off? Right? So we shut down our market center and had everybody work remote on Monday. And I started getting all those calls. And then other OPs saying, you sent your whole staff home? Why'd you do that? And then by Wednesday, the state put us on a shelter in place.
Yeah.
Right. And so the reason why I made that decision, so there's a point to the story. The reason why I made that decision was because I couldn't sit in that purgatory of should I or shouldn't I anymore. Right. And when I made that decision, it got us onto the next phase of the game.
Mhm.
Right. It got us into a place where we now went from should we or shouldn't we to how do we support our agents remotely? And then we've got to that place where we got that figured out. That got us into, okay, now how do we go after and support our local realtor community, which then got us into growth. So the faster you can make decisions so you can get to the next decision, that was my biggest aha in this whole process. When you're dealing with an uncertain world, make a decision. It may not be the best decision or the right decision. However, we always have the power to make it right, if that makes sense.
So to that point is, where are you now? Are you at the point where you're giving back to the community and we're on to the next, like, where is your market center at right now?
So we brought on a capper last week. We're bringing on a capper this week. So here's the thing that you get stuck in triage, right? How do we? I feel weird. I don't have my wedding ring on because I've used so much Purell. It was one of those rubber ones and it disintegrated.
It did?
It did. So I feel a little weird using my hands with. So right now I'm in my house. No, right now. So you shift from triage to growth, right? And a lot of people are getting stuck in triage. And so the kind of example that I'm using is, again, make those decisions. So on my coaching calls, a lot of people say, I feel like I should do a Zoom, or I've done a Zoom to my community. And so there's people that have done these and they've done a handful of them and they're already on to the next phase. And there's people that are still sitting here going, I think I should, what should I talk about? I don't care if you just say, okay, where on my calendar tomorrow can I do a Zoom? And you say, okay, noon, I can do one. Let's come up with a title. Shift your mindset, shift your business. Things to focus on during uncertain times. I don't care. Think of something, put it on your calendar. And I guarantee between now and noon tomorrow, if you blast this out to your database, you will figure out what to talk about because you've boxed yourself in to figure out the solution to that problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? It's no different than when I would go on a listing presentation and I would tell them as part of my marketing plan, I will door knock 150 doors the first week that we put your house on the market. Now, they loved it, and the reality was the odds of me selling their house by door knocking was slim to none. What it did was it boxed me in to do my lead generation. Right? So what we need to do is continually box ourselves in. So think about like my coaching calls. I can't wake up in the morning and say, I don't really feel like having that call with Mary Beth. No, she's paying good money to have those, and our market center is paying good money to have those calls. I've got to show up whether I want to or not. I am boxed in. And what's interesting is as I have my first call and then my second call, my energy gets better and better and better. Are you following me on that?
Yes.
Right. So the more we reach out to our pond and have those conversations. So where we are now, I'm kind of doing a long-winded answer to that. It went from let's do a Zoom to our pond and let's add value to them. Everything's about how do we add such crazy value that they can't imagine being anyplace else. Because I guarantee you in most market centers, if we ask our agents on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel supported, loved, cared for, led, all that during this time? I bet on a scale of 1 to 10, they're going to say a 465. And I can guarantee you that there are people at other brokerages that are not feeling that same level of support. Right. And so there's two pieces in this. One, there's two things for this: cut expenses, drive revenue. So for our agents, cut their expenses, contact their database. Right. And so for us saying, okay, have you felt loved and supported right now? Awesome. What we're modeling for you is what you should be doing for your database. Mm-hmm. And then typically what happens is they say, over the last 37 years, I know Keller Williams has told me I should contact my database and I just haven't done it. It feels weird. Okay. Has anything that we've done to support you felt weird? No. Okay. And then you find the little wins. Like I called somebody in my database. We had a great conversation. We didn't talk about real estate. And now I feel safe to have that conversation in the future. Mm-hmm. Right. So we set that up. Then the next step is, what are we doing for us? We have getting our agents into productivity, cut expenses, drive revenue, agents in productivity, and recruiting producing agents. So again, that pond does not feel the love and support more than likely that our agents are feeling. So how do we add value to them? So doing the Zooms is great. The challenge that you have with Zooms, unless you're having them register, and like I recognize a couple people on this, so that's the only way I'm gonna know who was on and who wasn't, unless I have them register. So we did the first one. We had 88 people who were not Keller Williams on there, and I recognized a few names on there, and I didn't recognize a lot of people. And I had no way to know who was on there and who wasn't. So next one, we started registering, right? And so now we're getting all their contact information. Is everybody taking notes?
Yep.
Yeah.
So now I've got all their contact information for all the people that are on there. And I'm going to do little things in there. Like I'm going to say, hey, is this adding value? You know, give me a thumbs up in the webinar, or give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Tell me yes, if this is adding value. Do you want us to keep doing this? Great. So I'm kind of hyping it up and getting their buy-in on, yeah, if we do this again and you got value out of it, will you invite one of your friends from your brokerage? This is a brokerage agnostic Zoom to support our realtors community. Then I might throw out there something along the lines of the bank statement exercise or goal setting to the now, or something Keller-like. Like I'm gonna throw out a value add piece.
Sorry,
And
I couldn't hear what you said.
apparently Siri's listening in. We'll shut Siri off. Okay. So
Patrick's shutting his Siri off. Let me ask, is this adding value? If so, give us a thumbs up so Mary Beth and I know you want us to continue to deliver content like this.
yep.
Yes.
So, okay. So I'm like, yes, like these are the types of things that we want. And so you think about it, okay, now I've got everybody registered and I put out a little item of value. So we call like on the One Thing website, there's the kick-ass guide to goal setting. So you can talk about the importance of following your calendar right now, especially while you're working at home. And if you want, I'd be happy to send everybody a copy of the kick-ass guide to goal setting, which starts with your someday goals and works all the way down to your calendar today. If you'd like that, give us a thumbs up, give us something in the chat. So I'm working on that engagement in the Zoom. Now, I would throw something out to say, I'll send this out to everybody so you have it. And in that, I'm gonna put either a link to my calendar, or I'm gonna put my cell phone number in the email that I send out to everybody. But just to say, we've been talking about a lot of cool things with our agents here on not just how to survive and weather the storm, but actually how to reinvent themselves during this time. And so I'm gonna put my info in this email that I'm gonna send the Kick-Ass Guide to Goal Setting to you. And what I would like is if you would like to have a one-on-one or a small group conversation specifically about your business, you text me and we get something on the calendar. So I'm adding value and I have a call to action. So these are kind of things that as you're making decisions quickly and you do your first Zoom and you realize, wow, I don't have anybody. It's kind of like an agent with an open house, right? They hold their first open house and then they don't have anybody through, and then they meet with their team leader and the team leader says, well, you picked a home that's been on the market for 6 months and has 37 turns to get there and you only put out 4 signs, right? And they start working to get better at open houses. This is the same thing. The faster we move, the faster we're going to get better, because I guarantee you, and you're probably already starting to see it, our competitors are starting to catch up. Right? They're starting to reach out to the pond as well and do webinars and all this kind of stuff as well. And so the last thing that I look at everything, if I overreact and send my staff home and worked remotely before the state said I had to, and everybody goes, wow, Patrick totally overreacted, I'd rather err on that side than not and wish we had. Same thing is true with this. I don't want to look back and go woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't want to see on Facebook somebody switched brokerages and they did not join my company. Right? Because there's too much value right now, in my opinion, in Keller Williams and with the leaders and the way everybody's showing up right now, that we shouldn't be attracting, not even recruiting, attracting people like crazy. And as a coach, I've heard it for years, like, oh my gosh, I just want to coach and consult my agents. I don't want to worry about doing all these 40 appointments. I just want to have value conversations. We're there, right? So at some point, we have to pick our side of the fence we're going to fall on. Right now is the opportunity to really add value and recruit people through value, right? And so just get after it. It's kind of my thing. Don't miss the window. It'd be like right now, same thing with our agents. How many of our agents in their database do you think their database knows more than one realtor? And it's the person who's talking to those people that's going to get the business, because everything that's happened right now, it's the garden hose. We put a little kink in the garden hose and the water is slowed down. Some places like New York slowed down more than others, right? But that pressure is building up on the other side of the garden hose. You open up that, something's going to happen, whether it's a vaccine, the virus starts doing this, and that garden hose is going to get unkinked, and then the floodgates are going to open. And so we need to be in first position. Our agents need to be there, and we as leaders need to be there. And the way that we do that is by staying in constant conversation. And it doesn't have to be like, hey, let's talk about all the value we can give you, but by joining Keller Williams, let's just talk to them about their business, how we can help them, right? Have some subtle closes in there, but have a really honest and authentic conversation with them.
What would you say to some of our leaders that maybe are not Zoom friendly, or maybe like video might not be something that they want to dive into? What are some other things, other items of values? How are you seeing some things set up to where maybe agents can plug in and they don't have to go on video?
Well, I have two sides to that. One, get used to video. Right? I love you, and get used to video. The time is now.
I'm good. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, I'm saying that's what I'm saying to everybody else out there. Again, how many of our agents said, yeah, I know I should have been doing video for a long time to my database, and they didn't because they were self-conscious about it. And now here they are hopping on Zoom happy hour, Zooming with their family, FaceTime with old friends. They're videoing like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we come out of this, they're going to feel there's going to be a select few, watch this. There's going to be a select few that come out and go, wow, I need to do more video to my database. And there's going to be others that regress back to the way it was before.
True.
And then all of a sudden going to be self-conscious about doing video again. So one, get really comfortable doing video. It's only going to make you better. I don't know if anybody saw the Simon Sinek video of his Zoom.
Yep. You shared it.
Okay. So in this video, he talks about what we're experiencing right now. Well, it's unprecedented from we've never experienced a pandemic in our lifetime like this, all this kind of stuff. The disruption to business is not unheard of or unprecedented. When the internet came out, there are companies that adapted and adopted the internet and changed their strategy. And there's companies that doubled down on the way they were doing things. And there's companies that doubled down. Borders, right? They're not around anymore. And there's companies like Amazon that adopted and adapted to the internet age. They're saying that, he was saying that Uber isn't putting the taxi driver out of business. It's the taxi driver's unwillingness to adapt to the future that's putting them out of business, right? And so the question that those people will ask is, what do we need to do right now to stay in business? Where the real question is, how do we need to reinvent ourselves to come out on the other side of this in a wholly better position, right? And what we're seeing in a lot of places, we're starting to see a little light at the end of the tunnel, and we know it's not a freight train heading our way. We just don't know how long the tunnel is. So long-winded answer to get comfortable with video, because right now, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty stretched on time. Anybody else, or am I the only one?
No, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're not even commuting, and I commute for like an hour and a half every day, so that's like 3 hours of my day is in a car, and I am feeling extremely stretched that I'm loading up with tons of content in these weeks.
Yeah. And so the thing I'm looking at is we need to be efficient with our time. We need to do a shotgun approach so that we can weed it into our fishing net, right? And start getting one-on-one with the people and the masses. So that's where video is really big. And then if you're not doing video, the other thing is the same thing that we're telling our agents to do. What would it look like to just call your database and reach out to those agents at other brokerages and just say, how are you? Do you need anything? We're here to help. It's the same thing we're teaching our agents to do to their database. The other thing that I look at is how can we activate our agents and our ALC to be a part of this team?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because you shared a little bit of that in an email.
Yep. So everything, like in the email I sent, I put that GIF of Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, where he's in the back of the Jeep and you see the T-Rex coming at him. He's saying, must go faster. Like that's how I feel right now. And so you look at it, and so some of our market centers have discounted or waived rents or waived fees. And I would be having strings attached to that. And I mean that in the best possible way. I'd be saying, hey guys, here's what we're doing because we have not been able to have access to our market center. We feel it's the right thing to do. And it's our way of showing you that we are in the boat with you. Now with this, I have a favor to ask. Can I ask you to hop in the boat with us? Who do you know that's at another brokerage that maybe isn't getting the support like you're getting, that you could reach out to and invite to our team meeting over Zoom, that you could reach out to and invite to our Zoom on Shift, that you could reach out to and say, hey, let's get you on a phone. We could do a 3-way Zoom with you, me, and Julie, and we could have a specific conversation about your business. Right. So I think it's fair to do a trade like that, because you look at, so for our market center, if we waive all the rent, that's about $6,500 in lost revenue. So it's not the end of the world. And there's a mathematical equation on how, on average company dollar per transaction, how many more transactions do I need to do to replace that lost revenue? Right. So I can tell everybody that had an office, hey, when you're doing your lead gen, reach out to 1 or 2 other KW agents and invite them to do it with you. Right. The other thing I could do is I can look at that $6,500 and say that's about a quarter cap. So if we add an additional quarter cap to the market center, that replaces that lost revenue. So there's a lot of ways that we can slice and dice this to make it a win-win. And when we're making such big and massive deposits into our agents, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for their help. Right? And if you don't ASK, you don't GET. I mean, try it when you go check into a hotel. You ask for a complimentary upgrade, odds are you'll probably get one if you're super nice to the guy or gal behind the counter. So, and then ALC, grab your career development committee, grab your growth committee, engage them at a really high level, right? So I had as an OP, I had a Zoom call with our ALC yesterday. I walked them through my thought process on, if I waive rent, that means that I lose $6,000 in revenue. So does that mean I might need to move one of our employees to part-time to cover the waived rent? And like every decision has a ripple effect, right? And so I walked them through all the things that we're doing. So when they're not seeing me do a Facebook Live into our group, they know I'm working on rent abatements and deferments. They know I'm working on SBA loans and the PPP program, and all this stuff behind the scenes that is going to impact and give us the ability to do more to support them. So go ahead, Julie.
I was going to say, would you share, you sent out a great email to your coaching clients about, and it could have been your last ALC meeting or your growth committee meeting.
Growth committee.
That they came up with. It was really great. And I'm sure the other people on this call could take advantage, could get something from that.
Yeah, it was really simple. And again, it goes back to the ask. I just said, I called my team leader, and my team leader is still kind of new, and he's awesome. And so there's little things where I have to jump in as the OP, being a team leader for 10 years. I still have to throw on my team leader hat every once in a while. So I called a growth committee meeting. I said, it's time we hand some of this training and education off to the growth committee, because it's a monumental opportunity for us to attract the right type of people. And what we want to be doing is not addition, we want to be doing multiplication. Right? So when we activate a group of people to go after a group of people, now we're multiplying. And so reached out to the growth committee, we did a call, and so we laid out, here's what we've been doing. Yeah, so we did a Zoom with the growth committee, there it is. And so we had a conversation about, okay, what would it look like if you guys put together a Zoom call and you activated the market center to invite people? And so we had that call on Friday. The ALC got together on Saturday and put together a schedule and mapped out, here, we're going to do shift and we're going to do this. And so they mapped, like, I don't know about you, but it's the first time I've ever heard of my ALC getting together on a Saturday to map out how to grow a market center. Yeah. Like, they're feeling so loved and supported. They're totally all in when I ask for help back. And so don't be afraid to ask. This is a large burden for any one person to carry, and it's not too big for a whole group to carry together.
Yeah.
Right. And regardless of, and we could talk about, there's all these nuances from New York to California to Washington to Florida to Arizona just did shelter in place effective. It starts today. Right. And so everybody's in these different boats. And the reality is we got to keep our heads screwed on straight, and we got to get through this thing together, because we all, like, you look at the unemployment that happened. Mm-hmm. My brain noodles on all this stuff all the time, if you can't tell. The unemployment that happened over the last 60 years, it goes like this. And then the highest was like 1982, 660,000 people got filed for unemployment in a week. Then you go like this, and all of a sudden last week, 3.3 million people filed for unemployment. Yeah. So, and what's happening in our area is that deals are falling out because those people got laid off and the vendor's doing employment verification right before funding. But the reality is those people got laid off because people came out and said, bars are closed, restaurants are closed, gyms are closed, movie theaters are closed, malls are closed, on and on and on. And so those people lost their jobs instantaneously because of a virus, not because of a gradual decline in the economy. So odds are once the virus passes, all those people are going to be pulled, or a large percentage are going to be pulled back into the workforce, and then they're going to be ready to buy. So what we've done in a lot of this is we just kicked the can down the road a little bit. Whether it's 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, we don't know. However, that floodgate will open again, and it's our job to be in that first position. And the more we can multiply and activate our team, and this is where Keller Williams shines. I saw another company that said we were built for this, and sorry, you're late to the party, pal. We started in a recession. We conquered the Great Recession. We wrote a freaking book on it, right? And in the last 10 years, we responded to more natural disasters than anybody else. We created a playbook on it. We have 18-wheelers stashed all across the country to support people. We've got this thing dialed. And by the way, in the last 3 or 4 years, Gary Keller rolled out a technology arm to our company, made us a tech company, which made us all uniquely prepared to weather this storm more than any other real estate brokerage out there.
Right.
They're all talking all this stuff, and they were not through an economic or a real estate correction or a natural disaster like this or any, right?
And
so,
in our area, they're not paying their agents.
yeah, so I mean, this is a thing this is what we need to get out there. We always talk about, gosh, I wish we could be more coaching, consulting in our appointments to attract people as opposed to recruiting. I wish we could tell our story better. We need to tell our story better. It's go time. So I don't know if you can hear the excitement and enthusiasm in my voice. Like, this stuff fires me up.
Yeah.
So
I
hope I'm not the only one.
We're fired up. I mean, most of the people that are on here, and Matt is here, who's been co-hosting Shift with me daily.
Mm-hmm.
Having that daily in my schedule, it just sets the whole day. It's like having the lead generation time block. So that's been great.
Awesome.
So I would encourage everybody, if you're not already doing something, set on this calendar every single day for your agents. It's been really super helpful for myself as a leader. I have to ask you, what do you see going on with the market center as far as cutting expenses? And even you said maybe taking away some staff or going part-time on some staff. What are you seeing throughout the country with those changes? Like, what should we be prepared to do?
That's $1 million question right there. I think because there's so many variables. I talk to market centers where they're making cuts with their staff pretty aggressively, and some of it's because they frankly just don't have a whole lot of cash. I have one that they just bought a market center, and they don't really even have a month and a half worth of reserves, and so some of those salaries are going to eat into that pretty fast. And then my goal, so I ask myself this question. I say, okay, at what point do I start doing layoffs or reduction of hours? Now, we've got some things that are coming into play on Thursday with some of the things that they announced previously. It takes a 14 days or 15 days for it to kick in. So April 2nd, some of those unemployment laws and stuff will kick in. So talk to your HR about how that impacts you, if it does or doesn't. So I think we're going to see some layoffs coming up this week before that April 2nd date. So I look at it and so, okay, how much can I save by reducing hours or doing a layoff? And then the other question that I've been asking, I'm not quite there yet, is what would need to happen that I didn't have to do pay cuts or lay off anybody? And so it's just an interesting question to ask. Like, is there another, like, what could I do that I could come back and say, I'm going to promise you all have a job for at least the next 4 months because we're going to do this, 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 and this. So it's just, I'm not saying that I'm there yet or that it's possible. I'm just saying it's an interesting question to ask, because when you start asking a question like that, you start looking for other ways to cut your expenses, right? Or other ways to create win-win. So that's where we went to the ALC with the office space. And my ALC said, I don't know that we should waive office rent. I think we're all in this together. I'm like, that's really cool, right? So trust your people. So as far as making cuts, I'm seeing everything all across the board, from people that are making no cuts to people that are like literally going down to a skeleton crew. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's pros and cons on both sides of that. And so for me, I'm going line item, just like they teach you, line item by line item. This morning, I cut out another, I cut out 200 plus 150, $200 plus 150, so $350 a month, just in 15-minute exercise this morning. And where your profit is made in those pennies. The other thing I'm looking at is we just went through our phone system. We're paying like $1,800 a month for our phone system. We now have it down to, and that was a drop from an old contract we had. I dropped that down to $400 a month. now.
Mm-hmm.
I got my rent deferred. Now I'm going to renegotiate early negotiations next week with my landlord to try and get that deferment of rent waived in a few months free if we extend our lease early. And lock in, because I know there's a building that's being built we're at $2.40 a square foot, and a new building that's being built is going to be at $3.35 a square foot. And so if I can lock in now, so there's all these things I'm looking at on ways to reduce my expenses.
Wait. Did you say your office space is at $2 the square foot?
Yeah.
Like,
You guys hate me right now?
like $2 a square foot. It like the way we would say ours is like $20 a square foot.
Well, that's per month.
Oh, okay, got you. Poof.
Yeah.
Got you. Yes, we're at a 2.1 multiplier. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got, I mean, our rent's $27,000. Now we've got it cut by 50% for the next 2 months. So it's at $13,000. So, I mean, all these things I'm looking at, we're applying for the SBA grant and loan. We're doing the payroll protection program. We're doing all this stuff because I want to be in a position where they say, here you go, here's your loan. And I go, we're good, we don't need it. I'd rather be in that spot than going, oh my gosh, we need to do something because we didn't make decisions fast enough. And now I'm scrambling.
So that loan that you're talking about is a federal loan, and our MCAs should be working with our OPs to be applying.
Yep. Yes. And so some of that is so the PPP we did through our local bank. So our banker, so it's a payroll protection program, and it's a loan that's forgivable. And so essentially what it is, you take your last 12 months of rent, utilities, and salaries, divide it by 12. Like you take the total, divide by 12, so you get your average, and then you times it by 2.5, and that's essentially what your loan will be. And as long as you spend it in the next 8 weeks, I think it is, don't quote me on this, this is kind of like, it's all new, so we're all figuring it out as we go. You spend it on those 3 things over the next 8 weeks. So say you get 150 and you spend 100 grand of that on those 3 things in the next 8 weeks, that 100 grand is forgivable, and you just owe that $50,000 back to the bank. Right? And you can just cut them a check back because you didn't spend it if you want to, or you probably have it at a great interest rate because of what's going on. So the government will cover that 100 and you have to cover that 50. So there's all kinds of stuff out there that you could be doing to put yourself in a better position, because and the hard part is, and I'm gonna have to hop off in just a minute. So we've got, and I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I think the one thing that we just wanted to end with is, what do you want to see personally come from all of this? What would you like to see when we get to the other side of this?
I want to be on the other side of this, having a big freaking party where we're all hanging out together and barbecuing and all that stuff, because I think everybody's been inside for a long time. So on the other side of this, 7
hugs.
Exactly. So what I want to see on the other side of this, kind of my mentality, and I know I'm talking to a bunch of people in New York, so I know Julie will like this, the rest of you may not. Tom Brady, when he was in the Super Bowl down 24-3, 28-3, he was in there going, there's no freaking way I'm going to lose this game. And that's the mentality that we need to have right now, is our backs are up against the wall with the economy and being on lockdown, and there's no freaking way I'm going to lose this game. And we're going to come out on the other side stronger and better for it, I promise you. And so I think the biggest thing is keeping your head screwed on straight, knowing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We don't know when it will be. We just know it will happen. And working our tail off right now to add so much value, because it gets me all fired up, because we have such an opportunity to make an impact and a difference in people's lives. People got into this industry for a very specific purpose, and that was to improve and change their world. And right now we can deliver on the goods like nobody else.
That's awesome.
That's what I want to see on the other side of this. The Great Recession, we went from number 4 in market share to number 1. Mm-hmm. Like, I want us to go from number 1 to, like, we can't even see the competition in our rearview mirror.
Untouchable, right? Untouchable.
Patrick, thank you. I know you gotta go. I don't want to keep you any longer. I truly appreciate you. I know Mary does, as being our coach, and honestly, I don't think anyone has reached out. Well, I know for sure no one's reached out as much as you've been in contact with us. So thank you for all that you do for us every day.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And if anybody on this call wants my information, feel free to share it with them. I'm here to help with whatever. Like, I'm all in on this. And so hopefully you're all in on this with your people too. So
Yeah.
rock and roll. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but I just got the chills. It could be the Tom Brady quote, but I totally agree. I think, we do need to come. We do need the comebacks always greater than the setback.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, so anybody have any ahas, at least the ones that are on here, want to share?
I like the fact that using the lost revenue as a means to go back to the agents in the market center. Hey, we're in it together. Help me. Let's get, for me, I was just figuring out numbers. It's like 5 half cappers for what we're losing. So I'm gonna refigure the numbers, but I thought that was great because now it's a reason for me to go back and ask for leads.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
I like that he leverages the growth committee and really his committees on his ALC. I think that's something that collectively we can all always do a better job of, and relying on them and not feel like we have to do it all.
Well, and I don't know, Mary Beth showed a screenshot of his growth committee Zoom, and I was like, hold on, I feel like that's more people than I have sometimes at team meetings for Yeah, well, okay, so that's a lot of
Yeah,
people.
rub it in
Imagine-
our face, Mary Beth. Rub it in our face.
No,
Thank you.
I think it's great, right?
That's amazing. And those people, being so all in and coming together during this time, I mean, that's what we're trying to create, right? And what we're trying to do, and asking them for help is something that we're probably not all comfortable with. And yet, as he said, we're pouring into them so much value and so much energy. And I am positive that you guys are working harder and longer hours, because I know that me, Mary Beth, we talk about it, but we can't be the only ones. I see heads shaking. So, and they know it, they see it, they feel it, because they're getting those Zoom calls. They're getting, 7:30 in the morning, we're on in front of them. So asking for help, I don't think is a bad thing.
I was just on the phone with like a transformational coach a little while ago, and she was sharing with me that our position, especially, we give, and a lot of times she's coaching some of us, and it's that we haven't, taken care of ourselves, and we haven't. So I think asking for them to help is part of taking care of ourselves. So we to his point is, we have made the deposits, so we've earned the right to even ask, hey, can I get a withdrawal today? I just need one withdrawal. I put 5 deposits in this week. I just need one. And I also think we had ALC call today, and what came from it for me was that I just asked a question because I know their databases. So I asked the question is, are any of their databases talking about buying investment properties right now? Like, is that the conversation they're having with a sector of their database? And Kurt, said absolutely. If they have cash, where we're finding that clog is in the creative loans, right? But if they're a cash buyer, ooh, I don't know why that just happened. But if they're a cash buyer, and if somebody has their mute, maybe everybody mute. Sorry. So if they're a cash, we're good. Yeah.
We're good.
Okay. So if they're a cash buyer, and or they're trying to buy and hold, those are 2 great investment clients right now. And so then what happened was there was 4 of them that were all talking this through and about the tenant rules and just mortgages. And I said to Matt, we need to encourage them to go ahead and have one of these. Maybe we haven't given them the permission or the encouragement to maybe do a spotlight agent once a week, and then empower them to figure out what the topics are that they are coming up with. And so I would just encourage all of us to maybe find that. Plus, on Thursday, we have some really great agent guests coming for the Leading Through Crisis that we want them to also be sharing.
So actually, Mary Beth, I'd like to take a minute. Can we share with those who are on with us on Zoom? I don't know if people are still with us from Facebook, but can we share some of what we had lined up for the next couple weeks and ask that you guys share it with your Thursdays are meant for agents, and Tuesdays are meant for us. Do you want to share what
Sure.
we have Thursday?
So this Thursday, we are going to interview Zohar Zamir. Zohar did 107 million last year. He's out of that Tenafly market. Bergen County's his backyard. And he even shared with me, you know, with the virus, he's not going to be anywhere close to doing that. And my response back to him was, if you built it once, you could build it again. So, and he said, absolutely, and even better. So he's got a really great attitude coming into our conversation. So that is on this Thursday. Then in future weeks, we have, very excited.
I know.
We have Mo Anderson. Mo
So,
Anderson.
actually, can I put a little asterisk on Mo? She's going to be a bonus call.
Wow,
Yes, she is. And you know what? You know how we got her?
you guys are amazing.
I just asked her. And I was like, you know, I understand if you can't, you've got to be so busy. She was like, absolutely, I'd love to do this for you. So like Patrick said, if you don't ASK, you don't GET.
Well, actually, Mo's reply in the email was, we have to help her.
Well, yeah. So she's going to be a bonus call. She's on Monday, April 13th at 3 p.m.
And we're putting a marketing piece together for everybody to go ahead and share. Okay, so here's who else we have committed so far, because we do have some other people that are out there. We have Mark King. Mark King will be our guest
Next
on
Tuesday.
April 7th.
Also asterisk, that's at 3 o'clock.
Once again, you'll get all the schedule. We'll put it also in a long text with all the times and stuff, and so you'll know. And of course, if something conflicts with it, take the recording and then use it on your own to send out in maybe a constant contact piece or a text message that here's a link, go back to this and watch it. Be that connector. So we have Mark King. The next one we have is your guy.
Yeah, not my guy, but, Thursday, April 9th, again, sometimes when you get these bigwigs, for whatever reason, they can't conform to our schedule, which is really annoying. However, Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, will be joining us on the 9th at noon. And that's for your agents.
So excited.
Anyone want
And-
to do that? Because I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, we got an author of Profit First.
And asked how we got him.
All right,
Yes.
so then we have, who else do we have? We have Holly Perry, Holly Prescott. She will be joining us for a leadership call in April. And I also have a call out to Linda McKissick that I'm sure she's just gonna get her schedule organized. That I do want to make it for the agents though, because I want her to really share on the opportunity of the shift that we can collect to create the gift of our profit share. So that's Linda McKissick. And then we have Gene Rivers. Gene Rivers, I believe, should also, I mean, I don't know, this would be a question to you guys. Do you think he should be more for the agents, for everybody? Because he has rebuilt in multiple disasters.
I honestly think agents, he did this, like lost everything. That's my thought. What do you guys feel?
Do it for the agents.
Okay.
Agents.
Okay, we have a call out to Jason Abrams.
Actually, you got a confirmation last night from somebody who will be joining us on the 21st.
Who's that?
H.
H, I said Holly Perry. Holly
Okay.
Prescott.
Yeah, did you already share that?
I did, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's Holly, and she'll be on April 21st, and she's gonna see if John Prescott, her husband, could join her, who is the president of Bold.
Yep.
And we have a few other people that we put some feelers out to see if we could get them on a call. I may have Dave Jenks. I've been talking with his wife, so I may be able to get Dave Jenks on. And anybody that you guys can get as well, please.
I just got an email back from Dave Jenks today inquiring about that. So he does charge. So I asked him, I said, we're a poor market center. Can you do something for free? So I'm waiting for a response from him. So,
Okay, we'll see.
We're working on Ben Kinney. We're working on Cody Gibson. Is there anybody else that you would like to see us be able to get for
Gary Keller?
for the agents?
Gary
Keller?
Keller. You know who would be great, and I just don't know, is Sean Rawls.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I love Sean.
This is true.
I love Sean.
We'll have to think about that one.
Sean's doing a session today, isn't he?
Yep, on lab coats.
Yeah, on lab coats at 3 or 4.
I'm not sure.
And who else? There was
Well,
one other person I was
Who were we
thinking of.
talking about we wanted to get last night?
Oh, Oprah? We want Oprah.
We want Oprah. We want John Maxwell. We're thinking really big here, and we will still land somewhere high.
Hey, no, listen, guys. If anybody can get somebody that we should be listening to, Julie or I will step aside, and you can co it with one of us,
Absolutely.
and we'll have it recorded, and we can even leave it closed to everybody if that's something you want to set up. Because we figure if we're gathering the audience, let's just keep using the same audience.
Definitely.
So anyway, all right. Anybody else want to add anything?
We set up a Facebook group. Hopefully you guys are all in it. If you're not, could you become members of Leading Through Crisis with Mary Beth and Julie? That's where we're going to try to start to share all the files and documents, and really just have discussion and answer questions and whatever
I
else.
had a question about that. I started inviting people to the group. Like, can I invite like people from outside the region, like my old MAPS coach, or like just like it's not just for our region, right?
Yeah.
I think that's how we thought, what we started, and then Patrick had suggested that we go bigger than just our region, because if we're adding adding other leadership, like he said, there could be somebody in Oklahoma that went through something similar. They might not have as strict guidelines as we do here, yet they might be able to add value from different disasters they've gone through. So it kind of opened our eyes. What are your thoughts on this, guys? Because it's for you.
I mean, I think so. I think it's a great platform. I mean, people, the speakers that you're getting on here are going to be relevant all across the country. And I think it's a great platform for the region, for our leadership, for you guys. I think it's good.
Sure. Then I'm open.
I'm all for keeping it open. Hey, Joe, did you hear anything back from the state about online licensing?
Yeah, that you could do if you are going for your broker's license. It does not have to be in class. If you talk of pre-licensing, that's not going to happen because they have to get approval by all the state official people to make that change. And they said with everything going on, it's probably not going to happen. We've gotten 2 or 3 emails back from whoever I have here, but so don't anticipate that to happen.
Okay, but that's actually to your other point though. Why don't you send us out a link if you are going to do the online broker opportunity? Just let us know so we can share it.
Okay.
Because some of our agents that want to get their broker's license and they're too busy, and when are they going to get it? This might be ideal.
Yeah, we didn't have a broker's class set up, but that's actually a good idea because I have 2 instructors that are kind of just sitting around doing their own business. But so I'll look into that. I'll look into it.
Yeah, we'd love to support you. Just let us know if you have,
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, if we don't have anything else, I think we could close up and get back together next week.
Anything we could do for you guys?
Is there no call on Thursday?
Thursday at 2 p.m. with Zohar.
Oh, Zohar, that's right. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yes. Zohar Zamir.
Definitely invite your agents for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Nice seeing everybody. Take
Bye.
care. Stay safe. Wash your hands.
Be safe.